meet you.
Likewise, thank you. But Carla, congratulations. Directorial debut
Thank you.
at Sundance, not a little film festival, but this one's huge. How does it feel?
It feels, I was very nervous right before the premiere. And just the excitement is like beyond everything that I've experienced. So yeah, it's been a special experience. I feel so grateful, honored to be here. I mean, Sundance is like the best place to like start connecting with audiences, and we get to, get the attention from all of you. So it's been really, really amazing.
I'm Mexican. I mean, I'm pretty fond and proud that people are getting to see your documentary. I got to learn a lot from watching it.
Hmm.
So, what was your take on premiering last week and with an audience and hearing reactions?
It's been great. I mean, I have to say, like having my whole team, because this has been like a team effort to put this film together. But having my whole team together, some of us came from Mexico, some of us came from New York, some of us came from LA, and that was really special to be able to like, show all the talent that I was, you know, I was able to like gather in this film, like our animators, the music. So that was part of it. And then just, actually feeling the reaction of the room and the questions that we got. I remember getting a question from a young Latina, and she seemed so excited after the film. So I mean, I think that us as filmmakers and creatives, the only thing that we wish is that we touch with our work, we touch audiences somehow, and we leave them with something that they can take, some inspiration or some kind of like, new experience, or maybe a little bit of knowledge that they can take with them. That's all we want, right? And I've been feeling that like the film is been touching people. So I'm really happy.
So we get to watch a lot of the art that's animated and it's part of the
Hmm.
storytelling, but also a little bit of the narrating. And we get a sense
Hmm.
of, you bring us like a sense of who Frida was with her sense of humor, sus palabras
Hmm.
gruesas, and
Sí.
even that quote, what, that she anticipated that after her death, she would be the biggest piece of caca after her death.
Yes.
That's humor.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that I knew that she had a really great sense of humor, but when we started reading all of her writings, like that was kind of like a surprise, amazing surprise, like to actually hear her sharp tongue. I mean, she went on and on about her opinions about French intellectuals when she was in Paris, and like the New York elite as well. And she definitely had a talent for using flowery language to describe things. So we just embrace that, and that was really important for me, with this film, is to really, try to capture the texture of the personality. And I think, that was what was really exciting about, doing this in first person, having Frida herself tell her story. I think that was what brought that intimacy that we were looking for when we put this film together.
You gathered all the information, archives I've never had seen before, heard, essays, journals, etc. You went from Cape Cod to San Francisco. Can you share that journey?
Yes, so her writings have, academics have had access to her writings, but the writings are in different collections around the world. So we did follow the academic work that has been done before about her. But there hasn't been like one single publication that has gathered all of her writings in one. Like her diary has been published, some letters have been published, but we were able to like, collect everything and have access to everything. And then we reach out to, what I would say is the main, academic, like a lot of the work that has been done about Frida is really based on the research that Hayden Herrera did. She, her biography of Frida Kahlo included a lot of interviews, quotes from interviews that she did with a lot of people that were, really close to Frida, that loved Frida, that were present in Frida's lives and were witnesses of what happened to Frida. Hayden got to interview them when they were still alive in the late 70s, early 80s. And we talked to Hayden, and she told us that she had given all her research to the Smithsonian, but when we contacted the Smithsonian, they didn't have anything of the Frida research. They had other different kinds of research about other artists that she had done. So we called her back and said, "Can we visit you and maybe, check your basement and check your attic?" And she welcomed us. We cleaned her attic in Cape Cod and found this huge box. I mean, it was like huge. All of her original research on Frida, everything that she had collected, and we were also able to read, transcripts, like full transcripts of interview with people that had known Frida. So some of the voices that you hear in the film are from those like first account voices. Yeah, and then we also reach out to this couple, the Cromies, who made a film. I'm gonna get the date wrong, but I believe it's 1978 that the film came out. And they also had an opportunity to interview a lot of people. And we found that all of their original interviews, their full interviews, were still in, these old tapes, like fourth inch tapes, and they hadn't been digitized. So they were incredibly generous with us, gave us those tapes, we digitized them, so we were able to listen to full tapes that hadn't been listened to for like over 40 years. And so yeah, we wanted to follow every track and find, all that original material, and like not that, some of it we didn't use, some of it we used, but all of that material just gave us a lot of knowledge of who Frida was and what she experienced.
I did reach out to the niece, Frida's niece.
Yeah, we reached out to Christina Kahlo, who is the grandniece of Frida, and she's a photographer herself. Actually, her brother is also a photographer, Billy Kahlo. So there's gotta be some kind of genes because Frida's father was a photographer as well. Obviously, Frida was a painter, but like there's some artistic gene that is in that family. And with Christina, it was really interesting because as a family member, she went to the hospital where Frida had a lot of her surgeries and was able to ask for her health records. And Christina, she's a photographer, she does her creative work, but she's also done some exhibitions around the world about Frida's health. So she just gave us a lot of information, and we were able to talk to her about, kind of like the family stories, right? That are passed from generation to generation about, this great figure. We were able to contact Diego Rivera's grandson, Diego Lopez Rivera, and we sat with him. Um, they were both consultants on the film, but we sat with him. We had a few sessions where we just talked about the stories, and we talked about Mexico at the time, and we talked about his grandfather. And, he's just very knowledgeable, not only because he's part of the family, but also because he's just done you know, a lot of research himself. So those conversations were incredibly valuable for us. And, obviously, like you see some of the physical genes. So it's really great to see kind of like the descendants and how they embody some of the spirit. Like Diego Lopez Rivera has like, Diego Rivera's eyes, and like Cristina looks a little bit like Frida Kahlo. So that was also kind of like special.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been excited to just have a little interaction, yeah, from someone that holds those historic genes. So that
Yeah.
makes sense to why your documentary does have a good stretch about the health, because I feel like in other documentaries, they don't emphasize so much. It's very brief.
Well, I know that, you know, I mean, that affected her throughout her life, not only towards the end of her life, but we wanted to, to really kind of give a very strong picture of her experience as the accident happened when she was 18. Again, everything seen through her eyes, right? Um, and we really wanted to, kind of like stop time for a second and be able to like feel what she felt, right? That moment in an accident when you don't really know what's happening and you have no consciousness of like how the accident has actually physically affect you. The way she describes is that, you know, it was kind of silent and it was a slow accident. And I didn't know, I didn't think of anything. Like I didn't think that I had been really hurt, right? And then we learned how much the accident hurt her. So yeah, I'm glad you said that because we also wanted to make sure that, we went back to the issues with her health, at different times during her life because she lived through it. I mean, she lived with it through all those years. It never went away. She was never okay after that accident.
Yeah, and it also gives a better understanding about her art and how she would paint herself. Now we understand more of why.
Yeah. And she, I mean, it's interesting because in a way she covered herself, she had this incredible image with the traditional Tejuana dresses. Um, I feel like, my own take is that some of it was also performative. I mean, she was like she was kind of like taking ownership. It was a bit of an armor for her. And and she wore long dresses, partly to cover her body. But in her paintings, she kind of like uncovered all of those layers and really showed us what was underneath, both physically, but also showed us what was underneath emotionally.
And embracing her Latinidad, right?
Oh, I mean, and that was also really important for us to kind of like for the viewer to get a sense of Mexico at the time and the cultural revolution that came after the Mexican Revolution of 1910 and how that really, influenced her and inspired her. And she's really from that. She's a child of the revolution. Um, so yeah.
Carla, can you share how the borderline painting influenced you?
Oh, well, I've been telling this story, but this is really kind of like the beginning of my personal relationship with Frida's art. Um, I was in college many years ago, about 23 years ago, and I was looking at art books in the library and I stumbled on this painting, which is Frida standing between the United States and Mexico. And, I mean, she had strong feelings about the United States. It was a new world that it wasn't completely accepting all the time. And that looked at her sometimes as an exotic woman, um, and she was really yearning for home. I was a new immigrant. I had been in the States for, I would say like about 3.5 years. And I just really saw myself in that painting. I mean, it was Frida's face, but I felt that it really captured my experience. And and I feel that like that's what she means for a lot of people. A lot of us see our emotions, on her paintings, and that's why she connects so intimately with our own lives.
So you think that has to do with why she, after so many years, Frida holds this Mexican title?
Yeah, I mean it's really kind of like the details of her intimate emotions that she shares with us in very honest ways. And then you see the influence of the Mexico, that the world that surrounded her in all the details. I mean, she painted, um uh, uh, in a lot of ways like retablos, right? And she very much like embrace and embody the Mexican, like, you know pride that we see in all her paintings. Yeah, I mean, I think that her honesty and kind of like facing her pain and her losses kind of straight on, is what we connect with deeply.
Family members, have they seen the documentary?
Not yet. I'm hoping to show them in person with me there because I really want to see their reaction.
Oh, when you take it to Mexico, Mexico?
Of of course. I mean, it was really important for the whole team to have have collaborators in Mexico. Our entire team is Latinx except for one person, and our composer is Mexican, our animators are Mexico. We finished the film in Mexico, and I'm just so grateful for the country just for giving us Frida in the first place. But also being so generous in the creative process with us. We got so much talent, so much Mexican talent in this film, and I'm just thankful that they like pour their heart and their talent into it. The animators are fantastic. They're like this group of mostly female animators led by Renata Galindo and Sofia Cáceres. And just finding them was, I think I don't know. I feel like it was a sign.
Was it the original plan to have Frida's art converted to the animation and the storytelling, or was it, did you come to that idea during the process of making the documentary?
No, that was like on our pitch. Like that was the approach that we wanted to give it from the start because I wanted a way to bring the viewer into it, kind of like immerse the viewer into the art. And I mean, it is her paintings. What we're adding is like movement, or we're highlighting details in the paintings, and we wanted to guide the viewer to put their eyes into those details, right? Because they have emotional significance to what we were saying at that point in the film. So we wanted to be incredibly respectful, and especially like um, be very respectful of the original intent of her art. We never added outside elements, but we wanted to, bring the art into this cinematic space, which is a different art form, and be able to guide the viewer through it. It's a very different experience when you get to go to a museum and sit with the art and observe it for a long time alone with it, right? But in this film, it's really kind of supporting our narrative, and we wanted to really bring the viewer into this immersive experience with it. So yeah, it was from the very beginning is the idea that we had. It was like a way to kind of like jump into her heart and into her mind and like kind of swim in her internal world. So we always saw her art as her internal world, and we just wanted to bring the viewers into it.
Yeah, I loved it. It brought us in, it drew us in, and not only that, but it's like maybe that's how Frida saw it. That was maybe that like something similar, her perspective and drawing.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really, really glad you liked it.
I did. Me encantó. I loved it, and I can't wait for other people to watch it.
I can't wait for other Latinas to watch it.
Yes, they'll love
Yeah.
it. You'll see. We have good appreciation.
Thank you.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
so much, and congratulations.
Thank
Continue enjoying the festival.
thank you.